Y'all. Hello. Hello. I have a lot to say and talk about today, as I'm sure you do too. I watched the episode this morning. I'm back home. I'm excited to do this rewatch to discuss it with you because I feel like I need a rewatch of everything that just happened. I had all of these thoughts while I was on the subway coming home, and now I cannot remember any of them. But listen, on my first watch, I'm gonna watch it again, so I'm giving it another try. But on my first watch, I'm mad. I am mad with how this ended. It started out interesting, and then I got really sad, and I was wanting to cry. And then I was confused for a while, and then I just left feeling so unsatisfied. It felt really bleak. Like, it just felt like such a bleak outlook at the end. I know the internet is very divided on the finale and what they think of it right now. So I'm giving everyone's opinions a chance. But I don't know, it left a bad taste in my mouth. Like, yes, I'm just sad because the show is over. Because I have been watching it since season 1. I've been here since the beginning. Like, it's just been one of my favorite shows ever. Especially because of how complex it is and how deep the writing is and the character development has felt. So for me, this finale, just at least in comparison to all of that, the depth of the show, it felt so rushed and tonally incorrect. Like, okay, maybe we're not going to wrap up every single little loose end. But to me, there were some things that are really important, cough cough, Macy, that I think should have been somewhat revisited, right? And yes, I do realize that maybe this ending is more realistic. None of the abusers, none of the bad people get punished. Well, there is some punishment, but not in the way that was satisfying. I do get that that's realistic. But still, there was something about the tone when it turned almost comical that felt almost offensive to me. Like, it felt demeaning to the rest of the show and how serious it is and heavy and complex and deep. Like, these are some very, very serious, dark topics that we have been exploring throughout all 3 seasons. And then the way that it just ended with a laugh and like almost, it felt like a skit, the wedding part. There is something interesting in the way that it just turned comical, but for the finale, for this last episode where we were trying to wrap up every single thing, I didn't really like it. I know that Megan Oppenheimer has said she's addressed the comments, the Lucy haters from seasons 1 and 2 who wanted to see Lucy being punished, and apparently that is why she is so severely punished in this last episode. If you have listened to me, if you've been with me here talking about the show for this season and or last season, you'll know that I have sympathy for Lucy. I mean, I think as the main character we should, because we're trying to see all these different aspects of her. But yeah, I did not want to see her be that severely punished. It was a little bit too far for me. Did anyone else feel that way? I mean, and just to have her be so severely punished and Steven not nearly as much. Again, realistic. I know, realistic. But something I keep coming back to. If you have seen Get Out, this is a really interesting case for me. So in that movie, apparently Peele changed the ending. At first, it was going to be a more realistic but much more bleak ending. But because the way the world was going at that time that it was going to come out, he thought that audiences deserved something a little bit more hopeful. And I think that's how I felt. I understood that there's some realism, not full realism, honestly. But if we wanted to go realistic, I think we at least maybe needed a few more episodes. But anyway, I understand making it realistic, but I feel like there could have been just something more or something less. At least something to make us feel like not everyone is so horrible. We know that the men in the show are horrible, but the way that a lot of things went down in this last episode also show how horrific the women are. And I wanted at least the women to stand up for each other, at the very least. I wanted to see Amanda stand up for Bree and support her and defend her. I wanted to see maybe Bree try to fight for Lucy to stay. I mean, I can't really ask the same of Pippa, I don't think, because of how messy that situation is, but I wanted some of that. I wanted them to at least, to show something. It seriously felt like a fever dream. I mean, maybe because I watched it so early. And again, that ties into a Lucy state of mind, because there was that point in the episode where I myself thought I was going crazy just like Lucy was. Yeah, I'm so sad it's over, but I just so wish, I keep saying to myself that I want to rewrite or write my own episode. I keep trying to imagine in my mind what it could have been. I'm trying to reimagine the ending for me and for all of these characters. I needed the Stranger Things treatment of this show. I needed the last episode to be in movie theaters, 2 hours, movie length, something. Even if we didn't get the full satisfaction of, Stephen going to jail or something, I wish. Even a hint to something that he might get in trouble later, or, I mean, we know that he has no one, like, I'm glad that he ends up alone, but there's just nothing that shows that he has changed or suffered the consequences really at all. Because, well, we'll discuss what happens. He does get somewhat punished, but still, he seems totally fine in the present timeline. Like, he's not seriously struggling with stuff in his life, right? I wanted to see a bit more of that. Okay, let's get into the scene-by-scene breakdown. Honestly, I'm kind of putting it off because I am scared to rewatch this episode. Like, there are just certain things I feel like I cannot rewatch the middle of this episode again. It made me so upset with Lucy. But yeah, okay, let's get into it. As usual, for the last time, we open up with 2015, the engagement party, though this time not the wedding. We see Bree smoking in her hotel room. Wrigley walks in, not knowing that she's there. He said Evan could crash in one of the rooms. He says he'll find another one, but Bree's like, no, stay. And they start talking. Seems like they still have a lot of chemistry with each other. Bree is stressed. She's not the happiest. She says she doesn't really know half of the people there because it's Evan's mom that's doing the guest list and everything. Wrigley makes a joke and says, oh, you could just not do it and piss everyone off and just date me instead. I liked this moment because Bree, she goes from smiling to her face just dropping, and she goes, why would you say that? It's one of those moments where she's like, Wrigley, stop joking about things because it's real. They start arguing about their miscommunication from 6 years ago, and what the heck? They've never talked about it. Wrigley says we've never talked about it. How is that possible? How is that possible? Did they not see each other in the past 6 years? Oh my gosh. Wrigley makes another kind of joke, and Bree says so earnestly, don't say funny things. I loved that part. It's a very cute way to show their dynamic. Wrigley asks Bree if she's happy, and she says she's trying to be. Girl, like, you had 2 more years of college, too. You didn't find anyone better than Evan? I mean, I know it's her own insecurity and the issues with her mom that just, like, led her right into his arms, but geez. Actually, I wonder we don't know when Evan proposes, right? He might have done it early on, honestly, to lock her down. They argue, which then turns into hugging, which then turns into hooking up. I mean, this is fun. If you like Brigley, I do. It's a little bit anticlimactic because it's 6 years later. Like, I wanted to see what happened during college. I was also getting slightly annoyed that we were spending so much time on Brigley in the last episode of the whole show because we just introduced them this season. But anyway. But they stop midway through because they hear people outside. Next, it's back to 2009. Lucy is sitting outside on campus and Diana runs into her. Lucy tells Diana that Steven gave her the tape back. Lucy, you can tell she really relaxes when she's saying this. She looked very tense before Diana came. And Diana says, "Oh, you must have caught him in a good mood because of the Yale ceremony today." Which kind of made me laugh because, catching Steven in a good mood, that man is never in a good... What is this good mood? He will flip like a switch. And then Lucy says she heard about Diana getting into Yale Law and congratulates her. Which, okay, why is everyone's business... Everyone knows everyone's business. Did we see Lucy ever learning that? I don't think so. And she tells Lucy that she's not going because of him. Lucy has the same reaction that I think a lot of us as the audience had, which is upset that she would do this just because of him, that she would change her life trajectory. It is kind of funny when she says, "I'm going to Stanford," which is just as good because, they both are fantastic too. But Yale is what she had been dreaming of with her father too. I guess maybe her father went there as well. So it makes that decision even more impactful and meaningful. We see Diana break down for the first time. Lucy says, "I'm so sorry that you're changing your plans because of him. That's really unfair." And she says, "Yeah, it is," and just starts crying. We don't see this from Diana very often. She has a very polished, manicured persona that she puts on. She always comes in very professional. She doesn't like to show that emotion. That's just kind of who she is. But in this moment, I think hearing it come from Lucy, it's something I think that she knows deep, deep down. But Lucy's the only other person that truly knows Steven and who he is. So I think hearing it from her, it just resonates more. That idea that she is changing everything because of him, it resonates a little bit deeper. And then one kind of nice moment of some closure, Diana says to Lucy that she knows she's telling the truth about Macy. Lucy, I think, feels really seen and validated by this. And she says that she hates that there are no consequences for him, ever. Same. The audience is all nodding their heads. Diana says that's how it is for some people. Here you can really see these two different mindsets or viewpoints on what to do with someone like Steven. I think Diana just accepts. She tries to accept it is what it is. What can I do? What's in my control? Which is, more successful, but also doesn't feel as right, feels somewhat unjust. Versus Lucy, who wants to seek that justice and does it often in a very rash manner, as we will see in the next scene. Well, not directly the next scene, but later on in this episode. And you can tell as Diana walks away because Lucy has, as Steven does too, she has this look on her face that she's out for her revenge. But in this case, rightly so. Back to Evan, if you remember, Bree went over to Evan's place. She put the pieces together about him and Lucy while Evan was in the shower. He comes out and notices Bree is gone. She has left. Back in her dorm, Lucy looks up Steven on Facebook and sees an announcement or post about this Yale event that he's attending. It looks like she is going to that event because she slams her computer shut. She gets up, she goes to her closet, and she picks out this, kind of slinky black slip dress. It reminded me of the one she wore, in the very first episode when she met him. It also was kind of giving Princess Diana revenge dress. I thought that was an interesting choice for her. It also could just relate to her loving dressing in all black, as we learned from the Anti-Valentine's episode. And right after Lucy storms out of her dorm, we get Bree storming towards it, knocking on the door, and then it seems like Lucy left it unlocked because Bree just opens that door. I thought we were going to get the reveal here that Bree looks around and takes the tape. I don't know how she would be able to tell what's what, but that doesn't happen here because then she gets a call from her mom saying, "I'm here and you need to come talk to me." Excuse me? Remember last episode after the exhibit when Marianne seemed to pull Bree's mom aside Does this have to do with that? What's going on? Now we're at the Yale event with Steven. This is a small thing that I didn't fully catch on my first watch, but the first thing we see is Steven in kind of the corner of the room by the walls, watching some of these accepted students take happy photos with their families. Yeah, I think he's standing there thinking about how that's what he lacks. We see Lucy walk in, plotting and scheming, and I was getting so excited because I'm like, you know what, Lucy, it is your time to pull a Steven on Steven, please. Then we get Bree meeting up with her mom, Mary, and she leads her into this office. And you know who's in the office? It's Marianne, Oliver, and Amanda. Are you kidding me? We immediately know the tone. The tone is negative. I had some shred of hope where I thought maybe Marianne said, like, I'm worried about your daughter, just to her mom, and wasn't going to bring the Oliver stuff into this. But this is bad. It's immediately so condescending the way that the three of them are looking at her. Oliver says, we're worried about you. We just want to help you. Marianne starts speaking and says that she told her mother, Bree's mother, last night, everything that's going on about the fixation with her husband. Excuse me? I'm sorry, Marianne. You felt the need to go up to Bree's mom and start this? After that, I don't know. This was so upsetting for me. I mean, after Bree slept over at her place and she offered her the tea and they talked, I thought there was some kind of real breakthrough. And I really wanted to see that because there is some kind of mystery to Marianne and what's actually gone on with her. But this just, someone said online, they were like, she's giving Marianne Maxwell. And it is so true here because why is she pushing so hard to cover up for her husband like this? Like, it feels like she's going out of her way to do it. Bree hasn't done anything recently. I guess she just has seen Bree's escalation, but why was she so nice to her then when she came over in the middle of the night? Like, and to have Amanda there? I mean, they just completely gaslight Bree. They make her look like she's so in the wrong. They mention vandalizing his car. They say she's been sending him all these photos that she's harassing him. Because, yeah, remember, I don't think he responded to any of the texts. They're like, and he even offers, he says, oh, you can look at my phone. She's been harassing me. She's sending me all these texts. I never reply. Wait, something I just realized. See, I feel like there could have been so many... Remember when they stayed at that hotel for the weekend and there was the bartender who could tell that something was wrong, could so clearly tell that Bree was underage and with this man, this older man? I'm like, in my dream world, Bree could have found that bartender and had her vouch for her or something. I mean, I guess who would it even matter to at this point? But, yeah. And then for Amanda to be there was extra upsetting. Marianne says, Amanda, tell us what you told us. Tell Bree what you told us. Did they coerce Amanda to tell them? Or did Amanda bring this up? I mean, Oliver must have manipulated her into saying this. But she says, yeah, like Bree started to stalk me. Also, this is the first time I remember hearing that his name is Professor Knight. But yeah, she gaslights Bree too. She says, it never happened. Excuse me? Like, yes, Bree did kind of stalk her and was very weird about the situation, but she had good intentions. She wanted to help Amanda. She wanted to save her. I don't know. That's another bleak takeaway from the show is like, you can help people all you want, but sometimes that even goes back to bite you. Anyway, I don't want to talk about the bleak things. Let's keep going. Marianne is so tough here. She says, what evidence do you have, Bree? Like, what a switch up from her. Bree starts going off on all of them, especially Marianne, and I enjoyed seeing that. I mean, okay. The first time I watched it, I hated it because I wanted her to stay composed so that she doesn't look crazy. Because that's another big theme, I feel like, of this season is unfortunately, these victims, they act out because of how they were treated, but then the reaction is often that people don't believe them. So when I first watched, I was really hoping that Bree would stay more contained and calm here so that it was more believable. But on the second watch, honestly, I know what happens. Just go off on them. Yeah. I mean, Marianne is threatening expulsion. She is manipulating the fact that she knows Bree is on scholarship. And Oliver, at the end, even has the will to say, Bree, this has been very frightening for us. Yeah, I'm sure it has. Also, notice how they don't have any, like, other staff from, like, or faculty from the school. Like, anyone higher up, like a dean. I wonder if they've done this before. This kind of threatening. Without any actual attention. I wonder if they've done it before and they know it works. Because obviously they couldn't be doing this multiple times. So, Bree storms out. Mary follows after her. Mary is coming from the place of she wants to help Bree. She seriously thinks that this could be true and that Bree is making a horrible decision. Bree, on the other hand, of course, is so upset because she's like, why aren't you believing me? Why aren't you defending me? Why can't you believe me here? I mean, okay, again, this is a very small moment, but I think really important to this scene because while they're in the room, Marianne says something similar happened at Oxford when I was at Oxford. And she specifically looks at Mary when she is saying this. And Mary gives a little nod. Remember how Mary has a lot of these insecurities about class? And when she went to the exhibit, she was like, oh, there are all these like posh, like classy people. Even with Marianne, she makes a comment about her accent, where she's from. That was also another subtle way to intimidate them, saying, we have this high status, like, we're in the right. You cannot threaten us. But yeah, Mary, I mean, she says, when I was younger, I had a lot of these big fantasies, and I think, yeah, she doesn't believe her, which is really bad, but she is trying to sympathize, and she doesn't know her daughter that well. But also, yeah, I get where Bree's coming from. That is really, really upsetting, and I think we can understand now why she maybe stops contact again with her mom, because this would be devastating. I mean, yeah, what a horrific way for her and her mom's relationship to end. This just, God, it just sucks. It really, really, really sucks. Oh my gosh. This finale now, it's really going downhill now. Let's keep going. Lucy is at the Yale event, and she goes right up to the alumni woman that is leading the event. Says she needs to speak with her briefly in private, that it's important. And she starts saying, you've accepted a student that is dangerous. He's done things that are illegal. Again, Lucy, right intention, but you also got to think about how this comes off to the other person and the credibility, because these are big statements, and you need to say it in the most credible possible way, right? Like if we have something in writing, some kind of proof that we can show, but otherwise just ambushing people, as we've seen, hasn't really worked in the past. But also I kind of love where she's going, and I have a lot of hope for Lucy in this scene that it does get through. Stephen does see her then from across the room. I loved seeing this look on his face of terror. He comes over, and Lucy doesn't stop when he gets there. She starts talking about the Macy thing. He says that he left her in the car when she died. I can't believe she kept going, and Steven's in her ear saying, stop it. The admissions woman, well, she's not admissions, her name's Sarah, the rep, she clearly is getting distressed. She's like, I'm not following. Steven says, this is my ex-girlfriend. She must be having an episode. I mean, the ex-girlfriend label is so easy to just slap on here and to make Lucy look crazy. Because again, when you look at this from an outside perspective, it's like, if this guy is dangerous, why is she going to this Yale event to talk about him? Has there been a report filed? Not that I'm saying she would have needed to, but when we're just thinking about how Lucy is perceived. And Sarah says, I can't get involved in personal matters. Steven's like, I'm so embarrassed. Lucy says, he's not embarrassed. He's a sociopath. I kind of laughed. It was really, really good. They storm out. Some people are looking. Steven says, congratulations, that might be the stupidest thing you've ever done. And it's kind of like another moment for Steven to be able to laugh. I mean, it hurts him. Well, it hurts him very little in the way of embarrassment and that other people saw what was going on, but he can talk his way out of that. And for Lucy, she really didn't gain anything. She has now just angered. She's poked the beast again. Cut to the next scene. Lucy jolts awake from her alarm. She is still in that black dress that she was wearing. I don't know what time of day it is, but I don't think she slept very soundly. She just looks like she is so unhappy to be awake and, like, honestly alive. It's very difficult. And then we cut to Evan calling Bree, saying, "Please call me back." Then Pippa in her room crying, but Lucy walks in and asks where Bree is. Lucy asks if everything is okay with Pippa, but Pippa still doesn't want to talk to her because of everything that's happened recently. Lucy says, "I know you said that I always make things worse, but I never try to make things worse. I'm trying to make them better." Pippa says she knows that and apologizes for yelling at her. But when Pippa plops down on the bed and keeps crying, Lucy comes over and is like, "Wait, what is going on? What's going on?" And that's when Pippa tells Lucy about what she's been doing, cheating on Wrigley. Lucy comforts Pippa. She takes her in her arms, and Pippa says, "It's good to say it out loud." Pippa's saying, "Oh, you swear you don't think I'm awful?" And then Lucy starts saying that she did something really similar. Lucy prefaces it by saying, "You promise you won't judge me," and Pippa's like, "Yeah, of course." And then Lucy says it. She says, "When Evan cheated on Bree, it was with me." So I was hoping in this moment, well, did I really think Pippa would take this okay? I thought she would be unhappy. I thought she'd be upset because, I mean, remember when Wrigley told Pippa about the Drew stuff in the first season? And she was upset because she was like, now I have to keep the secret from my friends. To me, in this moment, I'm just thinking Pippa's going to be upset that she just has now this huge secret that she would have to keep from Bree. Pippa immediately judges. And she gets up and starts freaking out. She's saying, "This is different," like, because Lucy says, "Oh, I wanted you to feel like you're not alone." And Pippa says, "It's different. He's a boy, even though he's my best friend. It's different to do that with other girls," which, yes, there is some truth to that, but also I think it's really upsetting. It's tough in this moment to see Lucy try to be comforting and then have Pippa freak out on her. But also I think Pippa is somewhat projecting her own guilt onto Lucy because she just wants to feel less guilty about what she did. And she's yelling at Lucy, and Lucy is freaking out. She's freaking out, saying, "I shouldn't have said anything." And I felt her regret, her instant regret so deeply. And I mean, Pippa keeps going into her. She says, "It's not just that you're terrible, it's that you're pathetic and weak." I don't know how you don't wake up and feel embarrassed every day. And it sounds like Steven. It sounds like something that would be coming out of Steven's mouth. Yeah, I do think that's even more projection. From her own guilt and shame, and to make herself feel better about what she did. Because, like, oh, look at Lucy, look how bad she is. Like, that's a bad decision. I made a slightly bad one, but it's not like that. Yeah, it's just devastating, I think, for Lucy to hear those Steven-like words out of her friend's mouth. But she does promise, she says, "I'm not going to tell Bree because that would devastate her." And then she says, before she asks her to leave, she says, "I don't want anything to do with you anymore." And Lucy, well, Grace's acting here was so good. The way she looks back up at her and she says, "Pippa." She was so good here. It's tough to watch because it's a very upsetting scene. Cut to Wrigley. He's also calling Bree, like Evan, but he's getting voicemail. And that's when Pippa storms in and says, "I need to talk to you." And I am so happy she does what she does because she admits that Wrigley, everything he's been feeling has been true. And that she's going to be honest now. And she just tells him about what's been happening, that she's been seeing a girl. Well, first Pippa comes out to him, which we kind of had this. I mean, I guess she said she was bi, but we kind of had this the end of last season. So I don't know what was going on with that. Like, did we completely forget about that somehow? Wouldn't Wrigley be like, "Oh, I remember. Yeah, the girl you said you have a crush on." Like, what? I am really happy that she came clean, and Wrigley is just so lovely. He's mature enough, and he saw it coming enough that he doesn't take it personally, and he just says, "Come here," and he comforts her. Pippa asks if she's mad. He says, "No, I'm not mad. It's okay." He even does one of his classic Wrigley jokes. He's like, "I turned you gay." Like, he lightens up the mood. It's just, I mean, they say "I love you" to each other. in the platonic way, and it's beautiful. And I'm glad, at least in this episode, this is probably like one of the shining moments of the episode. One of the okay, hopeful moments is their friendship. That's like it to me so far. The conversation turns to Steven, because Pippa says, I don't know, people like Steven lie about this, and Pippa brings up that he's worse than people realize. So Wrigley, of course, is like, is this about something specific? And Pippa says, well, you can't tell anyone this, but he sent Diana's nudes to her parents. Pippa says, well, Wrigley's upset about that, upset to hear it. And Pippa says, you know, you guys don't do anything about it. And that no one does anything. So between this comment and the one Lucy made earlier, I'm like, okay, are we building up to a big comeuppance for Steven? Because we keep saying, no one does anything about him. No one does anything about him. Oh, gosh. Okay, this next scene, my stomach drops. Okay, this is the part of the episode, where I'm getting, like, scared to rewatch. I'm getting scared to rewatch. Lucy goes into her class. She's settling in, putting her backpack down. And guess what these two girls are watching in front of her? The video. The tape. She, of course, freaks out, packs up her stuff, leaves the classroom. As she's walking through the hallway, she sees multiple other people watching this video. She hears her own voice. Like, what a nightmare scenario. It feels like a fever dream again. She slams this one girl's computer shut and says, turn that off. She keeps storming out. She's walking all the way out of this building. Okay, when I first watched it, I kept hoping that she would stop and maybe start shouting like, it's not real, someone made me do it. Like, I was hoping that she would do something in this moment to clear her name, or at least attempt, but of course, she must be just completely panicked and not thinking about what to do. It's fight or flight. She's just fleeing. And as she exits that building, she sees Steven across the courtyard, so she storms over to him. She starts hitting him, which I love to see. I don't know if we've really seen that before. I love to see her just hitting him. That sounds really weird to say, but you know what I mean. She's taking out this rage because obviously she thinks that he leaked it, that he had a backup and he leaked it. She says, the tape is everywhere, and he so calmly says, yeah, I know, I saw. The way he so calmly says it, I mean, of course he doesn't care. This was his whole, like, plan all along, but I'm like, you don't feel any guilt? Of course he doesn't feel guilt. I don't know. I have some hope for him, I guess. There was such good acting here. Steven says, Lucy, you did this. Lucy's like, what? He says, I gave you the tape back. I guess you decided to release it yourself. And she's putting her hands to her forehead. She's like, what? Like, why would I do that? I didn't do that. And I think this is, again, one of those moments where I am totally immersed in Lucy's brain because I'm starting to question, is it possible that she did this? Like, what actually happened? Did Steven do this? What went on here? Oh, it is so annoying the way that he says, are you sure you've been losing your mind lately? It's like, yes, because of you. Thank you. Thank you very, very much for repeating that. Steven so sickly relishes in it. Yeah. I mean, it's really sick. Obviously, he was involved in someone's death, so he can go really low. But it's like, the fact that he can have that smirky smile with Lucy so clearly in one of the lowest points of her life right here is sick. Lucy then goes to Alex. She feels like he's the only person that might listen to her. And he rejects her because he's like, yeah, I saw the tapes. She says she has nowhere else to go. And you told me that you don't judge. And he says, well, this is something I do judge. Ooh, it's just a dagger through the heart. Also, his eyes start welling up. And I think this reaction is related to something in his past and his upbringing. But that's a side note. I don't know if we need to go any deeper into that. And I don't know if I needed the show to do it either. But that's what I thought. When Lucy leaves, Alex heads back in, and that's when we learn that Bree was in the apartment the whole time. Bree says, I feel bad that all of this is happening to her, but I'm not ready to see her yet. But how bad does she feel if potentially, I mean, again, we don't have proof that she's the one at this point who leaked it, but yeah, she says she feels bad. They have a conversation about trust. Bree says she can't trust anyone. Alex says, no, you just got to figure out who you trust the least and then give them 70 to 80%. And I was like, so this is another, I guess realistic, but wow, so bleak. What another bleak thing. I understand Alex's response here because that's just a very clear, he has a zero tolerance policy for that kind of lie. But I also, on my first watch, I really wished that he could tell that the video somehow was kind of forced out of her. I mean, the issue again with all of this is the fact that even if people learned that she was forced to make that tape, what she was saying, part of it was still true, that she lied. Not that she did it because she wanted attention, blah, 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 all that extra stuff he made her say. But remember how perceptive Alex was when he saw how Lucy kind of cowered around Steven? He realized right away that she was scared of him. And I was hoping somehow he could maybe pick up on that same body language in the tape and realize that something was very, very wrong. But I understand him. Wrigley is sitting alone in the dining hall. He texts Bree to please call him. And more people are watching the Lucy tape. He sees them watching it, and he hears it from across the way at the other table. Steven comes over and sits down, and Wrigley's like, I was just leaving. Good, Wrigley, distance yourself. But he takes a second here, and I think he might be trying to give Steven one last shot to maybe redeem himself. He's like, let me talk to him for a second. And he says, oh, you saw the tape of Lucy, I'm guessing. Wrigley suggests that, someone should probably be checking in on her because it seems pretty life-ruining. And Steven says, if anyone deserves to have their life ruined, it's probably her. He's so sick. Steven can somewhat rationalize it in his mind because he says to Wrigley that she showed up at the Yale event and tried to get him kicked out, saying all this stuff about me. And Wrigley, I love that he questions him. He's finally questioning him. He says, oh, like, what kind of stuff? And Steven keeps it so vague because, of course, he's not going to say, oh, yeah, she told the truth about me and Macy in the car that night. Like saying I terrorized her. And Wrigley's like, well, yeah, she did seem kind of terrified of you. Oh, and he just keeps going because Steven gets what Wrigley's doing. So he says, if you want to feel bad for Lucy, go ahead. But I do hope things fall apart for her. And in this moment, Wrigley just looks at him, sighs, says, okay, and gets up and goes. And I think that was the moment he realized, I am done with Steven. That is it. He is who he is, and he is bad. He says, see you later, which to me sounded much more like a hope to never see you again. Which is also weird because why then are they all buddy-buddy at the engagement party and the wedding? Remember when they buzz cut Steven's head together? Was he just really drunk? Maybe he was just really drunk. But right? Lucy goes into her room. It's very dark. She doesn't even turn the lights on. Her phone's buzzing, and she locks the door. I was getting real nervous for her here. Lucy's phone is buzzing. She looks at it, horrified, but we don't learn who it was. I mean, was it Steven? I'm not totally sure who else would be calling her, unless it's just a bunch of notifications. And she climbs into bed, again fully clothed, looking so down and depressed. We also get to see the horrible things people are saying on Lucy's Facebook page because Pippa scrolls through it. She looks somewhat sad, I guess, but I'm like, I don't know, can we get this reported? Can we get Lucy's page taken down or something at least? Bree comes in. Pippa asks if she's seen the tape. Bree says she's kind of created the situation for herself. Because, Pippa's saying she's gone MIA. She's concerned about her. Bree is not showing a lot of remorse. Well, I shouldn't say remorse at this point, but she doesn't seem to feel too bad about what's going on with Lucy. And then that's when Pippa reveals that Lucy lied to protect Pippa. She did it for Pippa. Bree goes into shock hearing this and goes to hug Pippa. It seems like this is the moment that we realize that Bree is the one who leaked the tape because she is clearly regretful in that moment when she learns this news. And then Bree says, yeah, we need to make sure she's okay. So they get the RA and they start knocking on Lucy's door. And Lucy continues to not respond. I was so scared. I was really scared up until this point, especially that Lucy was going to harm herself. Because, I mean, this whole season, the theme of self-harm has come up in, like, every episode. Like, am I crazy for... I don't know. I thought they were trying to build up to something like that with Lucy. Not that I wanted to see that happen, but the way they kept talking about it, I thought that that was going to be something in this finale. The RA eventually opens the door and tells Lucy that she needs to come with her to the dean's office. And, I mean, Lucy's just there in her bed the exact same way we saw her before. I don't know how long she's been like that. She doesn't fight back at all. It's like she's totally catatonic. And so, in this meeting, the dean starts talking about the video, how she's been getting calls, and about Lucy's behavior, alarming behavior over the past few days, as witnessed by several students. I wonder if, like, maybe Tegan and just some random, like, passersby and onlookers who have seen her outbursts. All the while, Lucy's just got this, like, little smile on her face, like, a forced smile, and she's nodding slightly. I mean, she's just completely out of it. I don't even know if these words are fully registering with her. And the dean says, part of the ethos of a school is for the students to feel like they're in a protected environment, so that for the well-being of the rest of the student body, they need to let her go. And it's like, how ironic is that? How ironic. Poor Lucy has felt so unsafe on this campus. This campus has been the most dangerous place for her. Like, if we're talking about the well-being of the rest of the student body, Steven should be leaving. Also, or Chris. Lucy barely moves, and she just softly says, okay. It is so, I really wanted to cry here. It is so heartbreaking to see Lucy go through this, because she barely even lasted 2 years in college, and all of this happened. She says thank you with a smile, and the dean, is confused. She says, do you understand what I'm saying to you? And the way Lucy replies and says, I think I'd like to go home for a little bit. It broke my heart. Well, okay, this got me too. Then she says, I'm going to be away next semester for her study abroad program. And the dean's like, yeah, no, you aren't. You're expelled from the school. That's a school program. She has just totally lost it to not even consider that. She didn't even think that's what was going to happen, when I think anyone would understand it. I think she was just like, that was the last shred of hope she was holding on to. So hearing this completely just breaks her. It breaks, you can tell in her face, but then she puts that smile back on again and says, okay. And yeah, then the dean just says you can go to your room and pack up your things. And I'm like, the way that she's looking at Lucy, she can tell something is very wrong with Lucy. And I mean, there's so many things I wish happened differently. But I wish in this moment she could just have a real conversation with the dean and she could say, what is going on with you? I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter. The dean cares about the school's reputation and the rest of the student body and the parents that are probably calling. She doesn't care about this one person, Yeah, Grace Van Patten's acting here it was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Then we see Pippa and Bree sitting on the floor of their room, not even talking, when Lucy walks in. She tells them that they expelled her, and Bree right away says, they cannot expel you for that. That's not fair. Bree feels bad, and she hugs her, and it's like, I mean, I guess you should feel kind of bad. You did that. I mean, this can all be traced back to Steven, but you released that tape. She says, I'm sorry. Obviously not for that specific thing. You know what was something I was thinking? This comes a little bit later in the episode, but I was getting really upset about Bree's decision and how I feel like it's just not in character for her. And I wish that there was a way that maybe, like, she was more enabled to release the tape, or she had enabled Steven to release it. Like, that she was a part of it, but she wasn't the one who literally sought it out, I guess, watched it and leaked it. Does that make sense? Does anyone feel a similar way? Like, I wanted it to be that maybe she found it and then she gave it back to Steven. She was like, oh, you lost this, you know? Because to me, that wouldn't be quite as bad. Bree turns and says to Pippa, this is too much. She doesn't deserve this. And I'm like, yeah, she doesn't deserve this. I don't think she deserves this either. After everything we know, and Pippa says she'll be okay. Ugh. They're hugging, and that's when Evan comes by and says, thanks for finally texting me back. And Bree says, let's talk. Pippa leaves, and Bree says to Evan, I'm going to ask you a question, and if you're honest, if you tell me right away, then maybe we can work through this. And so she asks about him and Lucy, and he says yes. Bree says to Evan that Lucy just got expelled, and she can't take anymore. She's been punished enough. This felt like a little bit of a call out to the audience, going back to what I said earlier about what Megan said, that people wanted to see Lucy punished. I mean, I kept saying this too. I was like, she has been punished enough. I agree, we get it. Can we please have some retribution or like something good for Lucy for the rest of the episode? We have 20 minutes left, like, please. And then we get Bree saying that she forgives Evan, that she still wants to be with him. He's like, why? And she says, because you love me. And yeah, I guess she doesn't want to be like Marianne, huh? I mean, I don't think she was going to be like Marianne. I think she honestly had a better chance with someone else than with Evan, but whatever. Okay, now we finally get something good. Steven gets a call. It's from Yale admissions, and they say his acceptance has been rescinded. Finally, we have 20 minutes left. Finally, something. He just gets angrier throughout this phone call as he's asking questions, and it's so satisfying. I love how he asks, what exactly do you think I did? It's already like denying any guilt. He's already like saying it couldn't have been him. Like, what do you think I did? And it turns out it's because of the pictures of Diana. Okay, everyone is saying that Wrigley did this, which makes sense. I don't know how he would have gotten the proof, though. And, to me, I don't know if I said this before, but to me, I kept thinking, wouldn't Diana's dad have done this? Like, Diana's dad has to know that those are photos that Steven took and sent. He already hates Steven. He, third, must know that Steven got into Yale Law because Diana had to explain to her dad why she wasn't going, right? So, wouldn't her dad have made this call? Like, I could definitely see him doing that. Remember the first episode of season 2? He was on to Steven. And for him to ruin Diana's dreams, I don't think he would have let that happen. To me, that's kind of a plot hole. I guess he was so mad at Diana, like he couldn't even talk about it. But did you think that too? And then he asked, can you tell me who reported this, please? It's like, of course they can't say. And then he starts yelling and cursing, who reported this? And I'm like, finally, his true colors coming out. Because if that wasn't enough to seal the deal, the way he is acting on this phone call shows who he truly is, shows his truly dark side, his darkness, his evil side. We get a direct cut to Wrigley walking next, and it does seem like they're trying to say that he is the one that called. But, like, why wouldn't Diana? I don't know. Whatever. Oh, no. Okay. Now it's time for a sad scene. Wrigley, so he seems happy, empowered. He's walking on over to Brie and Pippa's dorm. You know who he's looking for. He is not looking for Pippa. But who's there? It's Evan and Bree. And Evan's like, oh, you're looking for Pippa? And he says, yeah, but yeah, he was looking for Bree. Bree even takes a little dig at Wrigley when she says that she was surprised to hear that they broke up and everything seemed good when she came home yesterday. Bree even goes as far to say, I love you to Evan, like right there and then. She was making it so clear to Wrigley that she was done with him, which sucks. I mean, it's been, one day since this miscommunication happened? Like, come on. Poor Wrigley, and then Bree behind the closed door starts crying. Yeah, this episode is so sad. Oh yeah, and here we get the official reveal, because Bree's freaking out. She goes over to her desk drawer. She takes out the little file, that little, drive, and she starts smashing it. Yeah, she feels that guilt. She made a very, very, very rash decision. Lucy's not the only one. Man, it just sucks. I loved Bree. And obviously Lucy is getting hit the hardest, but I just had so much, I don't know. Oh my god, I'm getting emotional now. Freshman year, like, Bree just had so much potential, and I feel like life was getting so good for her after she had such a hard life. Like, she was so full of hope and positivity and everything. Like, I don't know, not everything was perfect, but she tried, and it was better than she had it, and I just don't know how she can live with this. And she's now committed herself to Evan, like, she is down. Lucy's in her room cleaning up. She takes this one photo off the wall from the night of Bree's birthday when they were wearing their poussoir sweatshirts. Diana comes in. She says she's so sorry and she offers to help Lucy pack up her things. And I like Diana here. Lucy starts saying, everyone hates me. And Diana, she sits down, she gives her that Diana tough love. She says, you're going to come back from this. It's going to seem like the end of the world right now, but it's going to get better. Like, even I was feeling comforted. But then she does say, this will be something that just happened once that you're just don't like thinking about. The internet is forever, you know? I mean, we don't see anything in the future timeline to do with this, but she got expelled. Like, this will affect her, and it's not really just going to be something that just happened once, at least for a long time, unfortunately. But I think it's what Lucy maybe needed to hear in this moment. Lucy is packing her things into the car with Brie and the RA helping her. I don't know where Pippa is, and Steven is watching from afar. Also, they called her mom to come pick her up. We don't see her mom, which kind of upset me. I wish we did, because the very first episode, that's one of the first things we see is her dynamic with her mom, and she comes up again in season 2. She's met Steven. Like, I kind of wish we saw her. Because all I could think is, like, college was supposed to be her safe escape from home, from the trauma she faced at home, and what she was dealing with her mom. And they were potentially, like, turning a corner after what happened, potentially, in some way. Like, there was some kind of progress, I guess. So to now have this happen must be devastating to their relationship. Yeah, I just hated seeing Steven, watch this. You know, and he didn't look fully happy, because I think, again, he knows now that the game is kind of over. Like, Lucy's leaving. He is not going to be near her. He can't, who's he going to play with now, right? Bree gives her this big hug. Yeah, it's sad for both of them, honestly. It really is. And Lucy gets into the car and they drive off. I love what they did with this part, with Lucy driving away from campus, just looking back at all the students walking around, seeming to enjoy themselves. Versus seeing her in that car just crying and looking so empty. You could feel all that nostalgia, both nostalgia for, say, like, freshman year before Steven, and also the future nostalgia that she lost from what could have been the rest of her college experience. Wow, this part really shook me, because I could just, you could feel all of that. It's the loss of Lucy's life. It feels like the loss of Lucy's life that she can never get back. I don't know if other people can relate, but, like, I remember driving away from college after I graduated, and there's that same kind of, there's this bittersweet feeling of looking at all the students and knowing that a chapter is done. Or, like, during COVID, if you went to school during COVID, driving home from that, leaving campus, watching it recede in that back mirror. There's something so heartbreaking about it. So I think this moment really solidifies it for Lucy, and just how much her life has been destroyed at this point. You see these students, these girls smiling, talking to each other, and it's like, why was this Lucy's experience, you know? And she must be thinking that too, maybe like, why me, or just wallowing in that self-pity, thinking, I deserve this. All these other people deserve to have the college experience and be happy and be friends with each other, but I don't. This is my punishment. And then we cut to the 2015 timeline. I have a lot of questions for what happened in between, but I also kind of understand that we're not going to get those answers. I mean, I do want to know what Lucy did. Like, she has a job now, so she's okay. She did something, I guess. I don't know if she was able to go to a different college. I have no idea. It's late in the night of the wedding. A lot of people have gone. And Lucy and Bree are cutting it up on the dance floor, laughing together. We get, okay, good reveal. One thing I liked that made me smile. Diana is taking a picture of Wrigley and Pippa, which is also just cute. And she's like, say cheese. And as she's holding up her phone, we see she's got this Yale phone case. And they make a comment about it. She ended up going to Yale Law. I'm so happy for her. I'm so glad that ended up working out. Yeah. Thankfully, one thing. Listen, Diana sometimes before would really get on my nerves, but I love this moment where Pippa says she has so much Yale memorabilia, it's embarrassing. And she just goes, I'm not embarrassed. And I'm like, yes, Diana, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. Bree and Lucy stop dancing because Bree's feet hurt. And Bree says, I love you so much. You know that, right? And it's, again, it sounds so similar to at the engagement party when Lucy says to Bree, like, you know, I'm really happy for you, right? I mean, after seeing everything, it is weird to me. I'm like, how much do they really love each other after 6 years? Did they really keep in touch? I wonder how much they really kept in touch after Lucy left. Lucy says the weekend's been really necessary for her and that she's gotten closure on a lot of things. Don't know what you mean by that, Lucy. Because it seems like you and Steven are still in this weird hamster wheel thing. This cat and mouse thing. And then we see Steven and Lydia over by the bar. Steven is staring at Lucy. So, of course, Lydia's like, what are you doing? Lydia wants to leave. Steven's like, no. Lydia's like, why? So you can sit here and flirt with your ex-girlfriend. And Steven just drops this bomb. He says, I don't need to flirt with her. I hooked up with her this morning. And he keeps going. He says, the only reason we got together in the first place was to piss Lucy off, but that's not a solid foundation. He says, yeah, I think you should go and I think we should break up. And Lydia shouts out that he's an effing whatever. Yeah, okay, this was satisfying. One more satisfying moment because everyone hears Lucy and Bree see that going on. And I was happy to see that for Lydia. Because what did she think? Again, what did she think was going to happen dating Steven? So, satisfaction. She even throws the ring at him before leaving. So good. Bree then turns to Lucy and says, I am so glad that is not your life. And I'm thinking here too, yeah, you know what? At least Lucy got that out of everything. Like, at least she's not Lydia. I mean, well, a lot of bad things did happen, but I guess at least she's not in that situation. Bree goes off, and Steven comes right up to her to talk. He says to her, how long have you known about Lucy and Evan? Because I have been racking my brain about how you just don't have a reaction to what I did. Yeah, I love when Steven doesn't get a reaction and it freaks him out. Yeah, he is smart. He understands that means that she must have somehow already knew. He insinuates that something has been going on with her and Wrigley, because, yeah, I guess he looked through the phone. And Bree says, go home. Go home, Steven. It didn't work. I don't know what it is here, actually. I thought I understood it in my first watch, but now I'm kind of confused. Bree is saying the one good thing is that she got away from you. And in that moment, Steven realizes that Bree released the tape. Or, okay, well, this is what it is. Steven's fast. He starts putting together that if Bree found out about Lucy and Evan, that she would be that one other person besides him who would do it. And Bree's saying, walk away right now, except that you lost. Which she should not say. You should not tell Steven he lost. That is the thing that motivates him. And he just goes, So, Steven, the DJ is saying it's the last song of the night and then we gotta wrap this up, and Steven goes up and he says, excuse me, and he takes the mic. I was yelling at the screen saying, someone stop him. But it's like, you just can't stop Steven at this point. There just is no point, you know? He starts this out in a crazy way. He says, Evan, I hate you. And Evan's sitting there laughing, smiling. Some other people are laughing. But Steven says, like, not in a joking way, I've been sick of you for years. That's true. That is from the heart. And he just starts dropping bombs. He brings up Lucy and Evan, to which Lucy looks so terrified, even though she doesn't know that Bree knows. And he says, and Bree over here has known about it for years and has been holding it in, and it's all creepy. But I don't understand female friendships. That made me laugh. And then he talks about him and Lucy this morning. And then he says, that tape, I didn't release it. I'm pretty sure Bree did. Oh, and lastly, before he closes, he's like, oh yeah, and Brie and Wrigley have been going on for months. He even does, before he closes out, like a little recap summary sentence. They're all looking at each other horrified, and then Toxic starts playing. Okay, before we go any further, my first watch of this, I was so mad. I hated the tone. It felt so kitschy. It felt so, like, so cheesy and corny. This second rewatch, I'm understanding it a little bit more. But it is still tonally so different. Bree starts running up to Steven, saying, I'm gonna kill you, you sociopath, while Evan's chasing Bree, saying, talk to me, talk to me. Bree starts throwing cake at Steven, which is funny. But again, she's shouting at him, you stupid, stupid man. It's funny. But also, on my first watch, I was like, he's not just some stupid man. Like, he is truly, truly dangerous. This isn't funny. This isn't funny. Like, Steven is seriously disturbed and deranged and has actually ruined so many lives and aided in the death of a person. So it doesn't fully sit right with me. Steven's laughing while everyone's fighting. Evan, he's standing right in front of the cake, and Evan charges at him, and then Steven moves, so Evan slams into the cake. Like, I guess it's funny, but I also didn't want the last 10 minutes of the show to include Steven, like, laughing and smiling and stuff, you know? A good part here is Diana calls for Pippa, and they decide they're just gonna leave. They're just like, we're getting out of here. Good move. So then Lucy and Bree come together. They talk about the tape. Bree saying it was years ago. And then Steven interjects to say he needs to get out of there right now because he's in physical danger if he doesn't. So he's going to pull the car out front. And he asks Lucy, he says, you coming with me? He's trying to convince her. Bree's freaking out saying, no way. Steven's saying, no one's going to like you after this. Like, I'm sort of all you got left. And Bree interjects and says, that's not true. You and I can work this out, but if you leave here with him, it's over. And I'm like, that's true. Like, please, like, can her and Bree sit and work it out if they want to make this work, truly? Of course, Steven says, look at you two. This isn't healthy. It's already over. As if that's not about him and Lucy anyway. He hates female friendship, and that's why I wanted to see female friendship win even more in this finale. Lucy is panicking and doesn't know what to do. So Bree says, this is your last choice to do something that's not totally embarrassing. Oh, then we also get a moment of Evan screaming at Wrigley, and Wrigley is just not doing anything back, and he's just staring at Bree. They're staring at each other across the room. That didn't really do anything for me. Is that just me? That didn't do anything for me. I don't know. Then we see Steven waiting outside in his car, and Lucy comes out. I don't even know why she's engaging with him, but she says, why do you want me to go with you? They just have the same conversation they have so many times. She's like, oh, it's like college all over again. You just want to win. And he's like, I just blew up my entire life. I have no one but you. And Lucy says, but I hate you. And then she gets in. And this whole scene, it doesn't feel real to me. Again, the tone feels so different. And they smile at each other, and it's just like, it feels like it's some kind of rom-com. Like, maybe he was, like, a little bit of a bad guy, but not actually Stephen Demarco bad. Lucy looks all happy. Steven says they need to get gas, so they stop at this gas station. And she offers to go in and get them coffees. Also, just the look of everything, the cinematography here, the color grading, it, like, looked like a completely different show, which took me out of it a bit. So she goes in, she gets the coffees. She gets 2 coffees. people were saying she was trying to do some kind of bait and switch and ditch Steven, or that she knew he was going to leave. Like, no, then why would she get two? Also, as she's leaving, there's this black cat. This was very important to me because I love shop cats. I live in New York, and I love my local bodega cat. And I was like, why are we getting like a bodega cat reference here? I don't really know what it meant. And people are asking online, like, what did it mean? Other people are replying saying, you're reading too much into it. But have we ever seen an animal? Oh, we actually have seen a cat. In Oliver's apartment, I think we saw a cat. But I don't know what it means here. I think I wrote something down. Let me see. Oh, what I was thinking was that it was alluding to the cat and mouse game that Lucy and Steven play. But it kind of like took me out of it, because I was like, what? Did you have any idea of like what it meant and why they included it? There's also this theory, the save the cat theory, about how if you show a character like saving a cat, it makes them extra sympathetic. I don't know if there was something to Lucy like saying hi to the cat. I don't know. But Lucy walks out of the gas station and the car is gone. She sets down the coffee cups and she walks over. The car is long gone. She looks left and right. It's not there. But her bag was left there. And this song starts playing. It's the same song that was played when they went to that Anything But Clothes party when they wore trash bags. And to me, in that scene, they were just like these two kind of idiots together. I don't know if it's referencing what it's exactly referencing there, just like that there's still these two idiots together in the world, alone in the world. And then Lucy busts out laughing. Like, I don't know if you saw The Housemaid, but it was reminding me of Amanda Seyfried when she escapes and she gets in the car and starts laughing maniacally, kind of. Okay. I hate this ending less on the second watch. But I don't know. I can't even speak right now. It's so late too. I'm like, I don't know what the heck I just watched, honestly. It just felt so different. It felt like a totally different show. So, I've been reading what people are saying online about this ending scene. Some say that it refers back to Diana's plan of escaping Steven, where you make him think like he has the last move, the last say, whatever, last word, and then you're finally free of him. I think that's like the biggest discourse I've seen. And I somewhat believe that. Like, she's laughing, she's happy, there's something free about her. But also, she's been free for the last few years. Like, she went back to him just that morning, and she didn't really, I don't think she had to. I just think she was distanced from him. I mean, maybe, I guess that could make sense. Like, with Lydia being with him, she was still somewhat attached to him. There was still some kind of, like, connection. But after the wedding, like, all those ties are pretty much severed. Like, well, Evan and him aren't really going to fall out, are they? Maybe after that, but probably not. So, I don't know. My first thoughts were, I wanted to see Lucy go to therapy. I wanted to see her go to India. I didn't want to see this last bit of Lucy as a scene with Steven, you know? And there's something about her laughing. To me, the tonal shift of this last episode felt like a big kind of laugh in the face to, like I was saying, the seriousness of the rest of the show. And Lucy just echoes that here. She just laughs at, like, the horror of her life. It's not funny that Steven just left. Why did he just leave her at a gas station? I also don't really understand even the game of that. Like, haha, you thought I liked you? I don't. Like, Steven, you have no one. You literally said you have no one. I mean, they're implying that they're just going to play this game forever. Like, they're perfect for each other in a sick way, which I've always hated that idea. Because I feel like that idea has usually come from the discussions of Lucy being just as bad as Steven, and I hate that discourse. I hate that discourse. I think Lucy is a victim of Steven. Like, I don't know. I know it can't be perfect. I know it has to be somewhat real, or it should be realistic in some way, and that we can't have justice for everyone. But I wanted more for Lucy than this ending. I wanted more for Lucy. And what the heck happened to Macy? Okay, time for some closing thoughts. I'm just gonna spitfire any random thoughts I've had, because I have many about the way that this is concluded. Back to Mary Ann, her whole storyline left me really upset. I loved her in the first season and how she kind of became this mother figure for Lucy. I just feel like the show left with such, I've been saying bleak, like such a negative attitude about, honestly, like almost all relationships. And especially ones between women. All the women were so horrible to each other, right? I mean, we get glimpses of like Diana and Lucy towards the end, but there were some bad moments. Gosh, I know I wanted hope. Again, I know maybe that's not realistic, but like, I don't know. For a show that felt so serious, that was talking about these important topics, I thought I wanted there to be a little bit more of like some positive message, something, and a realistic positive one. It didn't have to be some kind of fake fairy tale ending, driving off into the sunset. I mean, that's what Steven does. I also saw people said they wish that they thought it was going to end with Steven and Lucy driving away and they crash into a car and like Steven dies and Lucy leaves, which would be kind of crazy. But yeah, I just felt like this last episode butchered the characters, and that there was a lot that was done almost purely for shock value. I want to hear, I know there's been a ton of people that have come out throughout the last three seasons saying that they relate to the show so much because they had a Steven in their life. And I want to know what a lot of these people think about the ending, how they feel about it. Okay, I've been reading more, and I am coming around to the finale more. Like, I do understand the realism of it, about how these people don't get in trouble for what they did. But still, it just, like, that ending, it felt so absurd. I think a lot of it did have to do with even just the lighting of that last scene where Lucy's laughing. That just makes you feel like you're watching a completely different show and takes you out of it a bit. But I have, on the second watch and reading some more, I do have a different and newfound appreciation for this finale. I don't know if you guys have read the book. I haven't finished it yet because I wanted to finish out the show first. I've been holding off. I'm really excited to read it. In my own head now, what I'm doing is trying to imagine what I wanted for the characters. So like for Lucy, in my head, I want to, well, what do I think happens to her after she gets expelled? She gets some kind of degree still, but I want to think about her traveling to India, maybe just traveling and befriending people as she goes on, staying single, but finding her joy in life again, and obviously going through a lot of therapy. I want Pippa and Diana to be happy together. I hope Pippa also goes to a lot of therapy. I mean, Diana too, but luckily she seems like she is extra resilient and has done a lot of the work on her own already. I like Brigley. I don't know how that's going to work out, but for them, I hope that they're able to deepen their relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic, but I think it is. And I hope they're happy. Evan, I think he should stay far away from everyone, including Molly. I think he needs to do a lot of self-reflection and also stay single. I hope that Oliver, something happens and Oliver does get in trouble and loses a lot, and that impacts Mary Ann as well. Because, I mean, yeah, they just, like I've been saying, I was so upset. I feel like Mary Ann was just totally butchered. Like, she just comes out as a completely awful person. There's just no coming back from what she did in the last episode. And for Steven, I know it's not realistic that anything happens about Macy, but I hope, and that he goes to prison, but I hope that it really haunts him for the rest of his life. I hope that later in his life he starts to maybe have nightmares, some kind of PTSD. I guess he won't, right? I have to read more up about his narcissism, but I would hope that at some point, even if it's not now in 2015, that things do start to catch up with him. Do you think that will happen at all? Do you think Steven's just going to live like a happy life for the rest of his life? Maybe find another new girl? I guess that might be it. I just really am still trying to wrap my mind around everything and the fact that the show is over. I want to thank everyone, all of you who listened this season and joined me last season too. It's been so fun. I've gotten a lot of new people to watch the show since the second season, because I think before it was such a small audience, it felt like, which was nice. It was like our own little community. But it's also just been great to discuss each and every episode with everyone here. So let's have our final discussion below. Oh, I've been debating going back to season 1. I might have said this before, but going back to season 1 and going through each episode there. Honestly, now that I've watched the finale, it really has changed my view of season 1, but I think I would talk about it from both the perspective of a new watcher and then maybe like towards the end, knowing what we know now. So we'll see. Yeah, I am truly at a loss for words. I feel like Lucy. I'm like, all I can do at this point is laugh. I don't have words. All I can do is laugh. So let's talk more below, and I'll see you later. Bye. Okay, P.S., because I just thought of something else. This is going to keep happening. I just need to upload this, though. But I hope in the future Diana becomes some kind of, like, victims' rights advocate, and she uses that law degree to help others. It would have been... I do understand if we saw that in this finale, it might have been kind of corny. But okay, that's it.